Credit Human, proud to be the official credit union of UTSA Roadrunners. Bud Light, game day's favorite light lager. Now, live from Walk-On's Bistro and Bar, voted #1 sports bar in America, here is your host, Andy Everett.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Frank Wilson Radio Show as we venture into Week 4 of the 2018 season. It is presented by Methodist Healthcare. UTSA coming off of a loss to Kansas State, getting ready for Texas State this weekend. We welcome in Frank Wilson, and welcome to the show. How you doing?
Glad to be here. I'm doing great.
All right, let's get to the thing that you do every Sunday, and that's the truth. How do you put Kansas State in the rearview mirror, and what do you take from that as you move forward?
They're way, way back in the rearview mirror. I promise you that. No, you reflect on the game, and we anticipated going into that game wanting to start fast, and we didn't quite get it on the first series, but on the second series, we were able to force a 3-and-out defensively and offensively. Get into an attack mode and a no-huddle mode, if you will, and go down and put points on the board to answer a touchdown that we had given up to them as well. And I thought we did some good things in the second quarter as well until the last minute. All right, and so you're looking at a 7-10 game with 1 minute remaining going into halftime, and they send pressure off the edge, and our punter has to then redirect his punt to avoid it from being blocked, which is kicked away from our punt coverage unit, and we give up yardage, which is not characteristic of our special teams unit, and they get big yardage on it and ultimately set up to get points on the board. And then we get in a 2-minute mode at this point to try to answer back to them and pick up 15 yards on the play, and in the midst of it, put the ball on the carpet. They get it back, score yet again, and it goes from being 10-7 to 27-7, just like that before you could blink. And so wanted to come out the second half and really show our personality and show and really concentrate on us and play UTSA football. And we challenged our team at halftime to show a fighting spirit, irregardless of the score. Let's go out and show who we are, that this is a team that's built on toughness. And the very first play, offensively, we have a run where we look them in the eye and we go down the field, and it's probably the most physical 15, 10, 12-yard run that we have, where the entire offensive unit was involved in it. Jalen Rhodes rumbles through their entire defense with the help of an offensive line, a tight end, a quarterback, a fullback that pushes the pile and really let our presence be felt, that in spite of what the score is, that we're here to fight until the bitter end. So it's proud to see that about our team. The ironic thing about this elusive third quarter for us, it's a 16-minute quarter, and we hold the ball for 11 minutes of that time and really move the ball, but we're not able to get it in the end zone. But we're playing with an attitude, with chip on our shoulder, and give up yet again another touchdown or two, and the game gets kind of out of hand. We go into a mode to continue to compete. We create 2 turnovers, and we get points out of it, a touchdown and a field goal. Then in the fourth quarter, yet another opportunity late in the game to go down and put points on, and unfortunately come up a little short, but until the very end, still throwing for the end zone to a young Tyke Kellogg with opportunity to answer yet again. So we finished in the manner that we would like in the fourth quarter, outscoring our opponent. Right. And when you look at a game in its totality and you break it down by segments, you recognize the good and the bad and the ugly. And so a 10-0 favor UTSA in the fourth quarter, a third quarter that's seen by yards, by time of possession, deceiving of a 10-0 favor of Kansas State. But we'll get there. We're on our way. We're making strides to clean up those things, forcing turnovers, not turning it up, turning the ball over. A game in which we gave up no sacks, but we throw a screen to a back, and it hits an offensive lineman and it gets flagged for intentional grounding when we were never trying to intentional. We were throwing it actually to a receiver and it hits a lineman and you get called for a sack there. But you talk about an improvement from week 1 to 3. In week 1 where we gave up 9 sacks, and in week 3 where we gave up 0 sacks. So certainly some things to build on and to grow from with the progress of our team.
On the scoring drive in the first quarter, everybody contributed. Andrew Martell got a sack. Greg Campbell got a punt return. Kurt Johnson had a big play, and Halen Steward scored a touchdown. So you got everybody involved. Yeah,
that's our type of ball. That's what it takes for us to win. It's a true mentality of all hands on deck where contributors come in every phase, offense, defense, and special teams. And when we're able to do that, you're able to see UTSA football at its best. So hopefully the trend will allow us to continue to play in that manner.
How do you feel the passing game is developing? I know some people have asked me, well, we see longer passes, deeper balls. We see a lot of underneath stuff right now, the slant pattern. I think Tauaefa caught one on the slant the other day that was pretty good. So where are we at right now passing-wise?
You know, it's amazing how that works. We just look at our opponents. We play Arizona State. They throw stay routes, screen routes, and throw for 300 yards because a dynamic receiver runs down the field. They do the same against Baylor. And very few teams drop back 5-step, 7-step drops without the concern of pressure being blitzed all out by teams. We took shots down the field. We didn't necessarily connect, but we do throw the ball downfield, and we will continue to take shots down the field as well. But the priority is to protect the quarterback, to take what defenses give us, to be exotic and take shot plays at times. But I think it's irresponsible to line up every play and launch bombs down the field. It's kind of like playing basketball, and you say the only shots we want to make are half-court shots and three-pointers. We don't want layups. All right, so when we can be efficient going down the field, we want to be. When we have to do things that are necessary for us to get down the field, or at times when we temper teams or play action and take shots, we want to have the ability to do that as well.
It's the Frank Wilson Radio Show. We're out here at Walk-Ons. We want to remind you that Texas Farm Bureau Insurance members get 2 free tickets to Roadrunner football games when you show proof of membership at the ticket office. Visit texasfarmbureau.org/sports to learn more. More coming up as the Frank Wilson Radio Show rolls on from Walk-Ons from Learfield. Bud Light is an official sponsor of UTSA Athletics, reminding you to enjoy responsibly. We are at Walk-Ons Bistro and Bar. Walk-Ons is the #1 sports bar in America. You can head out here before, during, or after the game. And we invite you to come out here every week for the Frank Wilson Radio Show. Joining us on the show this evening is Josiah Tauaefa, UTSA linebacker. Welcome to the show. How do you think your season's going so far? What do you like so far about how you guys have played?
You know, when you're down 0-3, it's hard to be enjoying yourself. But there are positives in every game that we play so far, improvements that we've made from week to week, and so I think you just got to focus on that moving forward, especially going into this last game before conference play.
Where do you see the improvements the most? And Frank just talked about you guys can see on film, and you can see by the way you're playing the improvements between the Arizona State game and the Kansas State game. How do you individually see those things?
I saw specifically this past game was a lot of fight, like Coach Wilson has mentioned before. Not laying down when we get down 2-3 scores towards the end of the game. A lot of teams, a lot of players would lay down and quit, and I didn't see that in this team. I saw a lot of fight, a lot of want to even late into the fourth quarter, which is good and promising to see.
You've had a kind of a renaissance, I guess, of your career because you came here the year before Frank got here. You were a down lineman, a defensive end at one time. You moved back to linebacker, and everything's happened well for you since then. Everything's been good. Talk about all those transitions that you had to make, and now you're into your junior year and continuing to make big plays. Yeah,
that was a pretty unique transition, unique situation. I had my hand in the dirt, and then I was running a scout team my whole redshirt year. and I would have my hand in the dirt, and then the next play, if the team, our opponent that week, if their defense had a jack back or something like that, they'd put me there. So I was all over on the D line and a little bit on the outside linebacker. So, and then Coach Wilson and that staff came in and did some evaluating and film watching, and they decided that would be the best position for me, that I'd be able to make the most plays or be the most productive for this team at that position. So, that was a great decision, great transition.
Good job there, Frank. Talk about Josiah and what he means to the defense, and he seems to be the heart and soul of this defense at times.
From the very beginning, that January when we arrived here, we watched practice tape for just to see our personnel and what we were inheriting. And you seen Josiah on the practice film, and we started what we call our fourth quarter program, conditioning program, and he just continued to flash. And we turned to the staff, now tell me who this kid again, Josiah Tauaefa. Okay, now why is he having his hand in the dirt? It's like, well, that's what he played in high school. And so we saw his athletic ability, his agility, his speed, and just thought it was something that could be of greater contribution to our team if we allowed him to stand and play in space. And so coming out of fourth quarter and going into spring, we moved him there and haven't resented it one bit from day one against Alabama State, and continued on a freshman campaign that allowed him to be freshman player of the year, all-conference, all-American freshman, and continue to excel. He's only improved year in and year out since we've been here, and continues to do so because of his ability to humble himself, to be a student of the game, the guy who says, coach me, coach. I'd like to know. I'm curious of how I can get better.
Josiah, where does that curiosity come from? Wanting to get better, wanting to learn everything?
I mean, the same reason that we're all, especially everybody at the Division I level, or anyone that's playing sports, period, is to be the best that they can be. Hopefully, that's your your mindset, your goal, and so that's in order to be that, in order to reach your full potential. That's the mindset that you got to have is to want to learn and grow as much as possible.
I'll let you both comment on this. You see a lot of times safeties and cornerbacks running down players from behind, or the not having an angle and figuring out an angle to get to them. Mm-hmm. I think from my viewpoint, I see Josiah at a spot on the field like there's no way you can get there. Mm-hmm. And then 3 seconds later, he's there making the tackle.
So he's a bright mind. He's already on pace to graduate December, right? Mm-hmm. So he'll graduate in December with a year of eligibility remaining. And so because of that, if you look at the game from a geometric standpoint and understanding pursue angles and how to get to an offensive player, he's figured that part out. And that it's not where he lines up, but where he winds up. Mm-hmm. And so I need to put myself in position to make that play at the greatest advantage. And so that can be taught, but sometimes it's very instinctive and natural. I wish we could take credit for that part of it. Yeah. He's very instinctive and natural in understanding how to depart from one spot and position himself in another to be at optimal position to make a tackle.
Josiah, how much is that instinctive and how much of it is watching film and knowing where that guy's going sometimes?
Yeah, it's both. It's split. There's only so much you can have an instinct of, but knowing where your guy is going to fit, knowing where the offensive player is trying to block your guys, and knowing where to fit off of that is equally as important.
What do you think about Texas State coming up?
Very excited. Very excited to play.
Trophy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us out here. Continued success. I think I speak for everyone here. You're fun to watch play, and keep it up.
Sir, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Josiah Tauaefa, UTSA linebacker. Wendy's uses fresh beef on every hamburger every day. Try it for yourself on a Dave's Double and taste the difference fresh beef makes. Fresh beef is available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada. More of the Frank Wilson Radio Show from walk-ons and from Learfield. All right, 724. It's the Frank Wilson Radio Show. We're live at Walk-Ons, I-10 and Hebner. Enchanted Rock Vodka and Rebecca Creek Whiskey are proud sponsors of the Roadrunners Sports Network. Raise your glass to the Roadrunners. Always drink responsibly. Joining us on this show in this segment is fullback Halen Steward. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, how you doing?
All right, I got to ask you about the touchdown. We talked to you last week for the pregame show stuff, and you block and you block and you block and you. He gives you credit, we give you credit, but you don't get in the stat sheet. You got in the stat sheet against Kansas State.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
us about your touchdown.
The running back came across, moved the linebackers, and I was just opening the flats, and quarterback caught me.
You got grabbed it with both hands and made sure you hung on.
Yes, sir.
I don't know who designed that play, but I'm sitting there and I've never seen the halfback offset before, or the tailback, and you were lined up right in the center, and then you and Jalen crossed, and boom, touchdown.
Yes, sir. I mean, it was first. I just want to thank God. It was a good feeling.
Frank, did you design that play, or is that an Al Borges play?
It's an Al Borges play.
That's a pretty good one, though.
It is a very good one.
Tell me about Halen and what he means to this team, because what he does is unsung and so valuable to everyone.
Yeah, you know, he serves in a capacity where he has to see it before the back ever sees it. And so from the backfield, because he's closer to the line of scrimmage, his decision-making has to be very acute and has to happen right now before the back ever gets it, who's 2 yards plus behind him. And so his ability to find an entry point that is predicated on the movement of the down lineman is a tough task that he's asked to do, and then to fit on that defender and to move him, to create movement and cavities within the defense so that we're able to operate and run the ball accordingly, whether it be by the back or the quarterback. He's charged with that. We do have opportunities that we hadn't quite gotten to yet, where he'll have an opportunity to carry a ball and catch balls and all that fun stuff. So we like him to know that his work is appreciated.
Looking forward to that, I bet.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Frank just mentioned you got to see this first. You got to see where the hole is. You got to see where the guys are coming from. How'd you develop that skill? Where'd you learn that?
To be honest, it is watching a lot of film. You really have to see what kind of front they run, and then the movement that they can do. You got to be able to see the blitz before it comes. So it's really just watching film and see the tendencies of the defense and how they move.
You're from Florida. What made you come to UTSA?
I had 2 offers coming out of high school. One was to Gardner-Webb in North Carolina, and then it was UTSA. Coker was the person I came into, and he was a big guy in Miami. So coming from Florida, you know, that's kind of big. He won a national championship in Miami. And then it was about making history also. UTSA made me feel like a family, so I came here, family outside of home. And it was making history, being the first team to go to a bowl game, win conference championship, that's still in there. So it was things like that.
Frank, it's one thing to have the toughness that he has as a fullback. That's a given. But he's had 2 pretty bad injuries over the last couple of years, too. And to fight back from that shows some grit and determination, doesn't it?
It does. It tells you the character of the man that he is, his ability to want to continue to mentally and physically prepare himself for combat, time in and time out. And so he's trained to attack defenders in a certain manner. I'm going to defer and allow him to articulate how he attacks a defender by body parts, etc. All right?
Tell us.
Hold on, I got a part. Boop. All right, go ahead, Halen.
All right. Well, first you want to attack them head up. You want to look for the weakness in them. I ain't going to say the weakness, but the body parts that are open, so the soft tissues. So you come and hit him. You hit him in the thigh, and then he's expecting that, and then you come up and you get up under his pads a little bit into his ribs, and then he's not expecting that. So he's kind of timid when you're coming at him. He don't really know what you're gonna do. So you can switch it up as you do it.
So if you had a body here, a muscular body here, an anatomy of a human body, there's spots on this person that Halen is trained to identify these spots and to attack them with purpose and intention to inflict pain. And so he does it as well.
You got to protect Jalen and BJ, don't you?
So he does that as well. And it's not what people would normally think. It's not barbaric in the sense of it's just these head-on collisions straight ahead. It's very cunning. It's very precise in his method or methodology of how he wants to attack this guy. And he has a PhD in it. He does it extremely well.
Very good. What do you think about Texas State coming up?
I'm very excited. It's going to be a good game. Hope the fans come out.
Pack the dome again.
Oh, the rowdy runners will be there.
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
Look at tonight.
Yeah, we're pulling them in. Halen, thanks so much for joining us. Continued success. I see you out there, and I know that you're going to make some good things happen, so keep doing it, and thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you. All
right. Halen Steward with us out here at Walk-Ons. Whether you're moving, remodeling, or just cleaning out some space at home, Life Storage helps make it easy. Call 844-LIFE-STORE or online at lifestorage.com. Life Storage, it's your life. Store it with care. More of the Frank Wilson Radio Show, live from Walk-Ons and from Learfield. Frank Wilson Radio Show. Andy Everett along with Frank Wilson. We will get to Jalen Rhodes here in just a second. Before we do, Frank, lots of things happening for the I-35 Showdown, the HEB I-35 Showdown this weekend. The skills event and food sampling is going to be going on in Rowdytown starting at 3. They'll have other college games on there. Fiesta Texas is going to have zombie characters with free kids tickets, inflatable games, all kinds of things going out there. It's a party for the fans, isn't it?
It is. You look at what our administration is doing from a marketing standpoint with Katie and Morris and their crew, just really elevating our brand, really going out and canvassing our community, the city of San Antonio, making game day an experience, not just a football game, but to whether it's tailgating, whether it's live music, whether it's face painting, and all the other things that you're talking about. We're very fortunate to have a support staff that has insight, foresight, and world-class experience and able to do that for us. So we're very fortunate for that.
And there's always a spirit walk. It's right at 4 o'clock when you guys come in, so that's fun to be a part of.
It is. I tell you what, when the team gets off the bus and I have an opportunity to walk up and meet Rowdy first and foremost, and then Dr. Amy and Dr. Campos, it's rewarding to look around and to see our faithful at the Spirit Walk to embrace our team, to cheer on our team, to let them know that we're going to war with you. You're not alone, that you have a support system with the UTSA family.
If you have tickets to the game or if you're getting tickets and your tickets are in an odd-numbered section, wear orange. If they're an even-numbered section, wear blue, and it's going to be a stripe out in the Alamo Dome. So odd is orange, even is blue, and if you need a ride to get there, you can use the promo code I-35 Showdown for Uber or Via and get $10 off your ride. So
now, there's big talk right now that the Texas State alumni base is starting a little chatter that they're going to outdraw the UTSA fan base. You guys believe in that? Boo, boo. And so we've issued a challenge.
All right.
All right. As we pack the Alamo Dome, let's just see. Let's see who fans could get most rowdiest, if that's a word.
Absolutely.
Most rowdiest.
It is tonight. We just made it a word. All right. We're joined also by Jalen Rhodes. You've been part of the Texas State series last year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How are you feeling going into the game with the Bobcats on Saturday?
I'm feeling very confident. I've seen a lot of progress over the weeks with our team, so I'm feeling very confident going into this week.
Tell me about the season from your perspective, not wins and losses, but trying to make that running game better. You didn't get to play a lot against Baylor. BJ got more of the snaps in that game, but recovering from that and getting back in the lineup last week with Kansas State.
I just see the offense coming together. I know we have a lot of young guys on the O-line. I just see them, picking it up and, just getting more in tune with the offense and just understanding the speed of the game and, just really adjusting to the game of college football.
I thought you adjusted to the speed of the game. I remember your freshman year at Arizona. You made some big plays in that game, and then You continue to do that the last couple of years. So where do you think your improvement has come from your freshman year to now?
I would say my patience. I know early on I wasn't really, used to being patient in the hole. I was kind of, I wouldn't say timid, but I was just kind of jittery, always trying to just get going really fast. But I say as time got on, I calmed down out there on the field, and I was able to see more things open up.
We've talked about that 100 times before, Frank. Running backs have to be patient, don't they?
Yeah, what happens to a natural runner all his life, from youth league to middle school to high school, he's probably been the best player on the field. And so he's used his natural God-given skills to create. All right, and he's used to being elusive, making people miss, getting to the perimeter, outrunning people. Well, the game slows down and it gets much more condensed when you play that 53 wide field. It's still 53 wide, but defense, they're structured to set edges, to fit and make you or try to make you run into a confinement. And so now what happens is as you get more mature, you understand how to counter that with an offensive scheme that allows blocks to develop that split the defense in half. And in order for you to do that, you have to not do what has always been naturally instinctive of you. Do it by yourself. You don't have to do it by yourself. You have an offensive line, you have a fullback, you have receivers that fit into this run game that'll allow you to be patient enough, because if so, it'll open down.
Yeah.
And then to see that crease and make that vertical cut that you don't have to go out and try to create, because by play design, the blocking scheme, the angles, the departure will do that for you.
Jalen, talk about the role of Halen Steward in the offense and how important it is from a running back standpoint. When you see him spring a block, how important that is, because a lot of teams don't even run a fullback, and UTSA does, and it's paid off some big plays not only this year but in the past.
Oh, yeah, I just want to first off say that Halen is responsible for a lot of the good things that I do.
That's right.
So, I'm very grateful to have someone like him be on the offense. His role is so important. It's been important since the day he stepped on campus. He's a great teammate. He's a great football player.
Yeah, and it's awesome to have an extra blocker out there, an extra lineman basically at times.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Texas State game. What do you see, without giving away the family secrets, what do you expect from the Texas State defense this weekend?
I expect them to bring a little pressure, to be hyped up. I feel like this is a very important game for them, for us as well. But, I just feel it to be a very, very live atmosphere, a lot of emotion.
42,000 in the game for Baylor. We get that kind of number. That always fires you guys up, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We love to see our fans.
They were awesome at Baylor. That was a great crowd, wasn't it, Frank?
It was. It wasn't just that the numbers were there. The energy in the air, the enthusiasm. It's always good as we talk about to go home and to spend that time with family. And our fan base is our family, and we share in victory with one another. We agonize in defeat with one another, and we understand that. And it's mutual with player, with coach, with fan base alike, that we all want to do well. We all have intentions on going out and playing to the best of our ability, coaching to the best of our ability, cheering to the best of our ability. And that's what makes us who we are.
Jalen, thanks so much for joining us. Continued success. Look forward to seeing you in the end zone a lot as we finish up the season.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right. Frank Wilson Radio Show, presented by Methodist Healthcare, the official hometown healthcare provider of UTSA Athletics and San Antonio's most preferred health system for all your healthcare needs. Go Roadrunners. More of the Frank Wilson Radio Show, live from walk-ons and from Learfield. We are back at the Frank Wilson Radio Show, live from Walk-On's Bistro and Bar, #1 sports bar in America. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance members get 2 free tickets to Roadrunner football games when you show proof of membership at the ticket office. Visit texasfarmbureau.org/sports to learn more. A couple of things, Frank, I wanted to kind of give a shout-out to, if you will. First of all, UTSA President Dr. Taylor Amy was with us on the Kansas State trip. Mm-hmm. And it's one thing for presidents to go on trips. They do that a lot. but he was 100% engaged in everything. From the time we got off the plane, he was high-fiving people. When we got off the plane in San Antonio coming home, after dinner, I saw him in the hotel talking to everybody that had a Roadrunner thing on. He's mentioned that sports is important to him, and he's living up to it. That's amazing, and I want to give him credit for that because that's pretty awesome to see that coming from the top of the university.
He's fantastic. He's what we would call a stud.
Yep.
Yeah, Dr. Amy's a stud. Here's what he did on the plane. We're sitting and preparing for the game, and, it's constant. We have this saying, the hay is never in a barn, all right? We play on Saturday. You may have a coach on Thursday say, well, if we didn't do it today, it's too late now. The hay's in the barn. That is not true.
It's always a work in progress, right?
Always, all the way up to the game, during the game, through the game, until the final horn blows. So we're on the plane, and I'm studying our defensive line test. All right, and Dr. Amy kind of looks over, and I say, you want one, Doc? He's like, of course. So I give him the defensive line test, and he goes, wow, bonsai. And, and he starts making the defensive calls. And I was like, go ahead and take the test. So he's trying to figure out the test and all that good stuff. So the next morning, I see he and Lisa Campos at breakfast sitting at a table, and he has his recruiting information in front of him. So he had gone from being the on-field coach to now wearing his recruiting hat. And I go down and I say, how you doing, Doc? And he says, John Doe, can't talk about recruits. John Doe had one hell of a game now. That kid threw for this and ran for this and tackled this. And I'm like, so you read your recruiting news? And so, 2 feet all the way in. Love having him. He's everything that you could want in a president, and is a leader of our university.
The other guy I wanted to mention is offensive lineman Jalen Gilmore. In the game, late in the fourth quarter, Travion Shannon got hurt. And I didn't see where he got hurt, but Jalen ran to him and grabbed him and didn't let him move until the trainers got out there. Fortunately, it wasn't overly serious, but I thought that was pretty foresightful for him to make sure his teammate wasn't going to get further hurt and nobody was going to get around him or touch him.
That's our Mississippi boys, right?
Yep.
So they came on their official visit together. And the funny thing is that Trey was the one that at that time was really considering coming to us. And Jalen was kind of up in the air. Well, when it was time to commit and sign, Jalen committed and was prepared to sign, and Trey wanted to court everybody in America. All right, so they flipped their roles and have been inseparable since then. But, yes, they have that type of kinship with one another, if you will, and really are protective of not just one another, but of our team. Of our team,
what you got to have from your tackles. They're the blindside guys,
They're the big
right?
men. They're 315 pounds, 6'6". So, they're the type of guys that we like to get off the bus with.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about Texas State. What are the Bobcats like?
You know what? They're a much improved team. They're a quality team. You look at them last week in their most recent game, and at one point they're up 24-0. At another point they're up 31-17 and really in control of the game. And then for them, unfortunately, things turn the opposite way, and they wind up losing the game 41-31. But very deceiving, the score, because they had played so well for 3 quarters of that football game. You look at our game against them a year ago, it's 14-17 in the second quarter, and we were able to pull away at the back end, but a very competitive game. The first time we played one another, 31-38, a very competitive game that went down to a wire. So what we're expecting is the very best that Texas State has to offer, a team that looks at us and view us as a rival. We accept being their rival. We embrace this I-35 challenge and look forward to playing against this football team.
How's Willie Jones, their quarterback?
He's a talented player. He scampered for a 50-yard run a week ago, threw another 40-plus yard touchdown. He's very talented, a skilled guy that's mobile as well.
All right, we got one more segment to go with Frank Wilson. We'll get to that shortly. Health Texas Medical Group is about your overall well-being, not just about your health. Their commitment to you is outstanding care, every patient, every time. One more segment to go as the Frank Wilson Radio Show rolls on from walk-ons and from Learfield. Anthony's uses fresh beef on every hamburger every time. Try it for yourself on a Dave's Double and taste the difference fresh beef makes. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada. Frank Wilson Radio Show, live from out here at Walk-Ons, presented by Methodist Healthcare, the official hometown healthcare provider of UTSA Athletics. Other thing I forgot to mention, just thought about it, Jared Sackett's tackle on the kickoff. How about that?
Good form tackle.
Yeah.
You know what? He had one as well as Yanni. And so here's what I said to him. I would recognize you guys for your outstanding tackles, but then that would admit to that we didn't do a good job in the coverage. So we won't mention it.
Very good.
But no, it was a good job by both of them.
All right. Some other thoughts on Texas State. What about their defense?
I think they're a good defense. You know, they're a 3-4 odd defense, and with a one high look, they'll play cover 3. They'll play man free, but they'll mix it up as well and give you a 2 high look. But I think their intention is to be able to support their defense within the run game and allow their secondary guys to play well. They're most experienced in their front 7. They return just about 3 of the 4 linebackers. All 3 of the defensive linemen were starters a year ago, so they're pretty stout up front. Youthful in the back end, but very talented. Their corners have good feet. Their safeties are good run supporters. We'll have to mix it up and try to take advantage of any leaks that they may have in their defense.
You mentioned Monday when I was listening to the your roundtable stuff. They've got some good wide receivers too, don't they?
They do. They have a couple of guys that are 6'3 plus, so they have some range at the receiver position, guys that'll go up and get a high ball, but also some slot receivers that can create matchup problems for us by trying to play well in tight spaces.
Rivalry games are always fun, and I think that all the UTSA the UTSA Texas State rivalry has been going on in other sports since we started playing sports here about 40 years ago.
Right.
To kind of see this morph into football makes for some exciting times as well, doesn't it?
It is. You look at together. 1991, the rivalry really started, but even before 91 and in the early 80s, the first time that we played one another, one that is rich in history. And when you look at the history of our university, of our athletic program, it's one that we're very respectful of. And so even when it came down to, is this a rival or not, certainly for our university it's a rival because it's not the first time we've played. It's relatively new for our football programs, but for every alumnus that's in this building tonight, for every alumnus that's in the city of San Antonio and abroad, it's certainly a rival because we've played competitively with one another for many years.
Let's fill up the dome again.
Let's go get them.
All right. Thanks, Frank.
Birds up.
All right, that'll do it for the Frank Wilson Radio Show, presented by Methodist Healthcare. UTSA and Texas State, Saturday afternoon. Our coverage begins at 4. We're on the air with a kickoff at 6. Hope to see you in the Alamo Dome. Tickets are still available, 458-UTSA, and online at goutsa.com. Have a terrific evening, everyone. We'll see you Saturday for the game, and next week back out here at Walk-On. 7:58, the Frank Wilson Show from Learfield.